You're listening to the Ask Drone U podcast. You ask, we answer your drone questions. Whether you're here to turn your passion into profit or you simply fly for fun, we're a community of learners and teachers who aspire to achieve greatness. We are
Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Ask Drone U. My name is Paul.
And my name is Rob, and welcome to episode number 836. Glad you're with us. Appreciate you spending some time with us. And we're going to do a few shows today. As Paul hits the road again. On the road again.
All the time on the road again, and I wouldn't have it any other way. The heart grows fonder when you're away. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow, that's...
And for you gentlemen out there who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying.
Anyways.
Yes.
Welcome
Anyways,
to the show.
we're really excited. If you left us a review, thank you very much. We do appreciate it. We're up to 210 now on iTunes. We really do appreciate that. If you have a question, don't be afraid to go to askdroneu.com. Also, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has been chiming in on questions through Ask Drone U. Someone recently texted me and said, hey, I've got a question. I know you have family time, but when I saw that in the message, I was like, and so to answer your question, sir, I won't answer text messages from anyone. You know, I typically meet people at classes, and you know, if they ask me for my phone number and they end up getting it, you know, I'll be nice and courteous and everything, but it's not physically possible to answer everyone's text messages. Like, for example, right now, literally right now, I have 100 unread text messages. Literally 100. I have 207 missed calls from this weekend and 35,000 emails to read. I don't have time. I'm sorry. But to answer your question, this is the avenue where we answer questions because we have a system where it becomes very easy to provide high quality information and an efficient process. That being said, his question was, my son wants to hack his Mavic Pro, which is a horrible idea to let your son hack his Mavic Pro. Just throwing that out there.
Why?
Okay. Let's say that so Rob has a son named Jacob. All right, we're just going to set the context here. Jacob just got his driver's license. All right. Jacob wants to buy a radar detector. Are you going to buy Jacob a radar detector? I mean, this is a real life thing. I know it is too, because he's told me about it.
Jacob has told you about it?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh, that's funny. No. Jacob is not getting a radar detector.
Okay. That's why you shouldn't hack your kid's Mavic.
Okay.
Is that a good analogy?
It'll do. It'll suffice. Yes.
But
I mean, I understand the concept. I was just looking for specifics, but it's okay.
You'd be giving him a car with no speed limit, no distance limit, no altitude limit, no way to see what it's doing, where it's going. It becomes ghosted.
Gotcha.
Are you going to do that for your son's car?
Well, not for his car.
Well, not for his car.
Maybe for his Mavic Pro. I'm just kidding.
All right. Well, in that case, if you are going to do it for your Mavic Pro, DJI has tried to lock people out from doing the hacks. You have to go download the old DJI Assistant 2 to be able to do it. And you may have to backdate your firmware. But the key that I've learned is if you want to hack your Mavic Pro, you have to have the older version of DJI Assistant 2. Or you could just be like the smart people where, you know, you don't update anything ever. Because if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Fair enough.
Let's get to today's question.
Let's do it. Brought to you by our friends at Schedudrone.com. That's Schedudrone.com. Check them out if you're looking for some help systematizing your process so that you can spend more time working with your clients, improving the process, bringing more value. With your Schedudrone subscription product, you're going to get really, really cool things like a custom branded map-oriented request page that makes it simple for your clients to book services and other very similar features. They're continually working on improving the system that they created to make their drone business run more efficiently. So it's created by people who are doing what you're trying to do. So check them out. And when you do, you can get it for a 25% discount off of the $20 a month cost by using the discount code of DroneU. And that's all lowercase, just DroneU. And you can do a 15-day trial to check them out and see if it's something that would work for you. Schedudrone.com.
We did a flight today and I had some issues, so I wanted to look at the logs. And I realized, of course, the flight logs, I'm not running DJI Go 4 app on our PH4 Pro Obsidian. And I see there's apps you can download. I wondered if you guys could recommend one. I'm leery about apps I don't know anything about, unless I see people use them so I know they don't have malware or something like that. So if you could give us a heads up on one of your shows, I always watch your shows and I really enjoy them. And thank you very much. Have a good day, folks.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for listening. We appreciate that, or watching, as you said. Appreciate that as well. And if you haven't left a review, please do that. We'd love to hear from you. Apps. So I think he's referring specifically to apps that will allow him to log his data.
Now there's already an application that kind of does this for him. If he were to just take his drone, and even though, so he said it's not reading DJI Go 4 or whatever, even though DJI Go 4 may not have the parameters of his flights and that data, the data is stored on the drone itself. So he can actually go in and plug his bird into Assistant 2 and literally see all of his data. I just want to refresh everyone's memory because a lot of people seem to get this wrong on Part 107, and I've seen it more and more since some new wannabe drone schools have been popping up. But anyway, long story short, you are not required to log your data at all. It's really good because you're able to determine when potential problems could have happened, but it's not one of those things that is necessary. Is it suggested? Sure, but it's not necessary. Now, one time an FAA FSDO guy had told me, it's like if you get an investigation and you have your logbooks, it shows everything. It kind of shows you're organized. It kind of shows you have your stuff together. But, my response is, well, Mr. FSDO, it is 2018. I like to do things efficiently. I can pretty much run my whole business on my phone. So I'm not going to write that stuff down because it's already logged. And if you want a log, I will send you the whole log in CSV format. People justify the usages of logs because for some reason there's this innate idea that it's going to help you in the face of an investigation. The data is already there, guys. You just have to download it. That's all. Now, here's the thing. If you want your data organized, like this caller, he's like, look, I want my data. I want everything. And I want it in a way that I can read it and interpret it, right? Because everyone wants something that just works for them. I would recommend Air Data. Air Data is a great thing to take all the data off the drone for you, and then it's actually going to classify that data and even provide more information than the DJI logs provide themselves. Sometimes this information is calculations of certain data so that you can say, oh, well, here's how fast I'm flying. Here's my angular velocity. Here's, this, that, and the other. Air Data essentially organizes the whole thing for you. So if you're like, you're getting an investigation, you want to look organized so that you can have the perception that you're a quote unquote safe operator.
Hopefully you are.
Yeah. I mean, that was the premise. I don't want to call Rob Captain Obvious because he's not. You are Captain Obvious, the listener, because you should already know that. But anyway, long story short, Air Data will give you that nice, pretty printout of all your data and all your log information that's going to make you look organized. So
very cool. Sounds
and I
like
say
a good
look
solution.
organized because I'm sure you can probably tell I'm not the most organized person. I try to be. I'm building systems every week, and I'm probably more organized than I give myself credit for, but organization is one of those things that unless I absolutely can visualize the benefits of it, I don't do it because I see it as a waste of time. I'm like, I could be doing something in that time. And I
think it's a well, on that particular point, it's an issue of long-term perspective versus short-term perspective.
True.
But maybe that's another episode.
But that's also recently changed because, we use teamwork to manage all of our people and tasks. And
yeah.
I recently went in there to add a new task for the website because Tim was gone, and there were hundreds of things going on. And it was like, and this is why we organize.
It is. Exactly. And that is based on a long-term perspective of getting things done over time, inch by inch. How do you eat an elephant?
True, bit by bit.
Something like that.
Speaking of which, since today is Amazon Prime Day, I just wanted to give you guys with a list of books. I'm going to send this list to Rob so you guys can have access to it. But it's a list of books. And it's all the books that I think are super important to run a successful life. Not a successful business, a successful life. In this, it's everything from a book that I was recommended from my family back in high school, and then ended up becoming a course curriculum book at the school. So I have that in here. It's the first one. Second one I have is about, it's called Unshakable. I'm sure you've heard it before. It's Tony Robbins' book, but it's actually about understanding the success to finance strategy and how just minimalist compound interest makes a huge difference. And it explains essentially how you can save for your future, especially when you're a small business person. It's really important. Marketing, the book Contagious. If you're wondering about how hard you're willing to work and how to find that thing where you're willing to work really hard for, check out the book Grit. If you're trying to figure out what avenue of marketing works for you, check out the book Traction. If you're looking to get outside of the health system and realize just how doctored the doctored system is, check out the book Undoctored. Although be careful because it's a very angry book. If you've ever heard some Angry Paul podcasts, this is like Angry Paul times 100. So skip to like chapter 9. The book Everybody Lies. This was the book that fundamentally changed my perspective of society because we all know, really, like we all...
No, I'm just, the title is very telling.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's true. You know, everyone lies actually like 6 out of 10 times in any given sentence of the day.
That's depressing.
That's the world we live in. That's also why you're going to want to read the book Super Forecasters, because that statistically proves why newscasters are wrong 99.2% of the time.
They don't do the research.
Exactly. 5 Love Languages helped save my marriage before I was married. So
No comment. It is great, though.
Thank you.
The concept is fantastic.
I appreciate that. There's a PhD doctorate level book on photogrammetry, understanding how...
It's like, good luck with that one.
Yeah, some of these books, people are like, what is going on here? Another great book on if you are feeling sluggish or run down, and you're just kind of like losing that spark, that fire, it could be what you're eating. I know that sounds crazy, but there's a book called Plant Paradox, and taught me a lot about eating, and I've changed a lot of the ways that I eat, and it's because of that book, and I have a lot more energy. Never Split the Difference. Well, we all know how important that book is. I mean, PJ's like, I've read it 5 times now.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's one of those books you should read it. You should listen to it. You should listen to podcasts that he does, etc.
It's so deep, and you don't actually realize how deep it is until you've read it a couple times. Win Friends and Influence People. That's kind of like the opposite of Never Split the Difference. But Never Split the Difference is going to give you... I feel like Win Friends and Influence People is like, this is how we need to treat people. La, awesome. And Never Split the Difference is like the FBI way of, here's how you win.
Yeah, but it uses a lot of the same strategies in the sense of it's about empathy.
True, but it's more specific. It's a lot, in my eyes, it's a lot more like formulaic. Like with Never Split the Difference. In terms of how to get
what you want, basically?
Yeah,
which could be to the benefit of somebody else. It's not how to get what you want for your own benefit, right?
Well, I mean...
That's how I perceive it.
Okay, so
because if you start thinking only about yourself, it's all out the window.
Well, yes and no. I agree, and that is a very big point. That's why you should read the book Give and Take by Adam Grant. That's another good one.
There you go, segue.
So, also another book you should check out is The Slight Edge. That's how most people are able to succeed beyond others. And Deep Work. Deep Work is probably the one book that, man, I should read it again and again because I do not follow the book. And the thing is, well, you're going to want to check it out. Also, The Compound Effect is pretty much a summary of how to be successful. So
it's a great list.
Yeah.
Start checking them off.
Yep,
There's some in there I haven't read. I'm
going to give all these links to you, and you can just put them in the description. So,
right on. Enjoy.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening today. My name is Paul.
And I'm Rob. And check out droneyouflyin.com if you haven't registered.
Still time.